Good morning, this is Sean here over at Oakland Cemetery with Steve, and we're over here in the center plot, and we're over at the site of Willie Stevenson Sr. And actually it's November 11th, which is Veterans Day, and even though Veterans Day is for thank you for our service members that are currently alive or serving, we are usually the ones that have passed away are more memorialized on Memorial Day. But what we're going to show you today is if you just want to do a couple videos that you've seen on the channels where we actually lift the stone, we have the tripod set up, but here we're just going to do some minor adjustments to the stone. And what we're going to do, you can see that we have two levels. We have the orange one and the green one. The orange one's more of a prop to kind of show you some little tips to save you some time in the future. And what we're going to do is the stone that we're working with is just offset like that. And this is kind of a gross adjustment of what you're seeing. So, or excuse me, it's actually offset like this. So if you're looking at this stone dead on, it's offset like this. And what we're going to do, we're going to just set it straight, and we're going to use our pinch tool here, right here, our post tool. And then basically go through a couple of steps to explain how we're going to do a minor reset on this stone. So we got our pinch tool, got our saw, we have a shovel, but usually we don't need it for these minor corrections. And then because we are using a pry bar against the actual stone, so you don't scar up the stone, we have this pieces of wood and different sized wedges, because if once again you might be out here by yourself, and so these wedges come in real handy because you're going to have to hold the stone in one position as you pack the dirt and then continue on from there. So we kind of pre-cut the stone around the front, and so basically what you do is just these saws are hand saws very handy in this respect. You just cut around. And of course I'm making it look a lot easier than what it is because we just kind of had it pre-cut. And what you do is we look at the level on this side, and the reason we're going to actually go off the green level, and the reason why we have the orange one staged is because right now the stone is tilted this way. We want to bring it like that. So you think you're ready, everything's set, you're going to use your pry tool to kind of wedge it straight, and next thing you know, you got the pry bar, or you got the wooden tool here, you got the pry bar here, and then guess what happens? You got your orange leveling tool right there. So now you're going to have to reset everything and then restage up. Oh yeah, absolutely. And so that's why we got the green tool opposite of the way, or excuse me, the green post leveling tool on the opposite end of where you're going to pry. And so we're going to go ahead and pry this up, and then go from there. It's popped off the clip. It was pretty level right front to back, or actually it might be a little change there, but well, just like anything else when you're working with new things, you just kind of work with what you got and figure a way around it. But my little belt clip just kind of popped, but when you're resetting the stone, this wedge right here, so if Mr. Harmon wasn't here, or if you don't have a second body, basically you'd be trying to push this, hold it, and then you're continuously fighting. You're just kind of working really hard. So these wedges do the work of, basically they kind of assist you along the way. So what you do is you look at your bubble as the stone's getting more reset. As you saw, Mr. Harmon just tapped the wedge, and then we just look at the bubble as it gets more level, and we hold it in place. And then, as you've seen in the past, where we look at the vertical and the horizontal alignment, we're going to do the same right here. All right, pry bar for that one. All right, so what we did is we got the front wedge to make sure that we're aligned. We made it level horizontal and vertical, and that's what that front wedge is doing. And then what would happen if you just immediately took the wedge off is that now the pressure is there, and then the stone's just going to fall whichever path there's the least resistance. So what you can do is use the back end of your pen tool and then just pack the ground back down as you watch your level, and that usually will reset these minor adjustments. And what you want to be careful with is that when you're using this tool, it has a lot of weight behind it. So you just want to be careful when you're around the stone not to chip the stone or accidentally slip or anything like that. So if you're ever feeling tired or anything like that, just give yourself a break. You can always come back to it.
A break?
Yeah, that's right. We don't know what that word means out here. But we'll keep packing it. And just naturally as the ground falls or the ground settles, moisture comes through, these stones over time will be offset. But that's why we do these minor corrections. Of course, you've seen on our prior videos where we do major corrections. This one's just a little bit different. And if you have any questions or comments, leave it in the section below. And there's also an email address if you have any other questions or concerns. Just leave it in the comment section below, and we should be good to go. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Good morning, world. This is Sean and Steve here at Oakland Cemetery. We're over here in the center section of the cemetery, and we're actually here on Veterans Day. So if you know a veteran or service member out there, thank you for your service, and of course thank your family for their service. And even though these individuals have since passed or celebrated on Memorial Day, we're actually here working at the cemetery on Veterans Day. We're over here at Mr. Clarence Pelham's stone, and he's a World War II vet, born in 1925, passed away in 2003. And the thing that we're covering here are just what we call minor adjustments to the stone. There's a couple things that you're looking at. Overall, what we're looking for is a proper level and somewhat of a height adjustment and alignment of the stone. So we're looking for vertical, horizontal alignment, and then if there is a alignment with the rows, but we're kind of like in an odd area, so that alignment may be off. And then what you have to look for, if you're able to look at the stone, you're like, it kind of looks crooked. Well, it's actually not crooked, it's just the way that the ground is contoured. Here in Virginia, we're almost like built on a swampland area, so it is very common where the ground sinks, and that's almost why we reset a lot of stones that you've seen in our videos. One thing I'm going to point out, we got Mr. Steve Harmon behind the camera. when we know which way we're going to move this stone, the way you see it, grossly overviewed, is like this. So we're going to push it this way. And the reason why I'm pointing that out is because we're going to use a pin tool to prop it on this side and move the stone to where it's vertical. Now, why do I bring that up? Is because if you do, we always talk about these little post leveling tools, which help you with the horizontal vertical alignment, is that when you use this pry bar to push it one way or the other, well, next thing you know, you ran into the very tool that was trying to help you. So just kind of advanced step you in preparation that you can just move that tool to the side, or just have it on the opposite side of where you're going to use the pry tool. Of course, you can be prying it from different areas, so that's why you just want to kind of prepare yourself as well as you can. And then, because you are working against any stone, this one in particular, the marble military stone, is that we use a piece of wood as a wedge, and then this pin tool, it is very heavy, but that's what allows you the leverage and the weight to move this stone in whatever minor direction you need to. And the other thing that we do to kind of relieve pressure around the stone is any type of handsaw. So this is a handsaw that we have right here. What you can do is you just cut around the base, and when you cut around the base, what you're going to do is that pry tool, you just kind of kick the dirt off and relieve the pressure off the stone, so when you make the minor adjustment, you repack the dirt, and then you should be good to go. So we're going to do some cutting here, and then some of these have been set and reset by the volunteers out here, to include Mr. Harmon. And then, but what we're doing is more of the minor adjustment, and what we're going to have to do is move the stone to your right, and it's to our left, and then level-wise on the side, it does seem pretty level, so we won't have to make a forward or aft adjustment. So if this is a stone off to the side, it's pretty straight there, but it is crooked if you're looking at the face of it. So we're going to get to adjusting, and then if you have any questions or comments in the meantime, you can fast forward to the section where we come back off the camera, but leave your comments in the section below. Actually, I think when you put the wedge in, you tap into, or actually I just put this and then pry it up some more. Just very minor. Or what are you thinking? Go up against that guy? Okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay. All right, so we basically have the stone level, and as you're applying pressure to the stone, and then you take the wedge off, well, that wedge was absorbing some of that pressure, so as soon as you let it go, you may have a minor adjustment. So it's okay, and once you get a good feel of what you're doing, you can, and I'm going to go grossly over here, is that if the stone is like this, you want to move it in the opposite direction just a little bit more to where it wouldn't be level. So you can see it's not perfectly level here. But what happens when you, mind if I see the wedge? So what happens when you take the wedge off, it will relieve back into that center point. So that's just a gross overview. When you put it in, you relieve the pressure, and now it's level.
What you also want is, you want the tapered edge, so as you push down, it gets bigger. If you put it on the flat side, it won't do much.
Yeah.
So you want it on the tapered edge, push it out further.
So, if you guys, so you heard that, is that the more movement you want the tapered edge or the larger edge, so that way when you're tapping it in, you'll have more room for that stone to be moved. And as we're adjusting the stone, so when you're moving the stone around, you have many tools, and it may be even kind of weird to say is that lifting a stone and resetting a stone may even be easier as a single person by resetting these stones, because you're making the adjustments, prying tools, these wedges. Just take your time with it, be patient with it, and over time you may even find your own techniques that work out a little bit better. But this is what we found out to work well for us, and then because we didn't have to dig up a whole lot, we're going to use the base of this pin tool and kind of compact the ground around us. Normally we have our 8x8, or excuse me, our 6x6 or 10x10 square, where we just pack the dirt down. Here we didn't remove a lot of dirt, so we're just kind of packing the dirt as well as we can, and because it's a minor adjustment, that packing of the dirt is just enough to keep that stone level, and we should be good to go. So back to Clarence Pelham's stone. Looks like we've reset, and then Steve and Sean, we're out.